Hi, Cherie Fogarty here, founder of Creating My Best Life and Habit Gratitude for Kids, where we show you how to get happier and more grateful children and be happier and more grateful yourself, no matter how busy you are or your family is. This week's tip for super busy moms is simple and fun. It's to keep track of an ordinary day. It's so simple and something so many of us don't think about, but those ordinary days, the days we think are boring, the days that we think will never end, those days someday we're actually going to miss. And I remember my husband, when our kids were very young, and he was brave enough to take 3 of them, I think, to the grocery store, although I thought that was crazy and would never have done that because none of them ever listened when they were young. But he did, and he was standing in line. We recently moved to Connecticut, and he was standing in line, and he ran into one of our neighbors there. And you know, he was just laughing at Pat and my husband trying to manage all of the kids and the groceries and check out, and he just started laughing. And he had 6 children, and most of them were older at that point. He said, you know, enjoy this. And of course my husband was like, are you kidding? This is torture. What do you mean? And he said, no, someday you're gonna look back on this and wish you could have another day like this, that you could all be in the backyard playing, that you could be standing in this grocery line. And of course my husband thought that was crazy because, you know, 3 young kids screaming and hollering, I'm sure, in the grocery store. But I'll never forget that, and my husband doesn't either, because he tells that story all the time. And then I saw a video, and you'll see a link below, and many of you may have already seen this video. It kind of went viral years ago. It was a poem, I can't remember her name, but it'll be in the links below, A Gift of an Ordinary Day, and it was so poignant. And I remember my kids were younger at the time and thinking, gosh, you know, I hope I can feel this way someday, where I'm grateful for the ordinary days. Now, of course I do now, and I spend so much of my time doing that, and that was in large part because of my, you know, my experience with breast cancer and thinking I might not survive. And so I do certainly appreciate more, but that's the whole point, is to try to help us all appreciate more and to remember, because life is busy, and when we're busy we forget. But those ordinary moments that we so often understandably take for granted are the things I think most of us will look back on in 10, 20, 30 years when our children are grown or have children of their own, and remember as the most precious. It won't be just those big things. In fact, it may not be any of the big moments and the big things. It may be that, you know, rubbing their eyes when they wake up in the morning and giving you a hug and snuggle, coming home from school, you know, the younger ones running in and hugging you like they haven't seen you in years, and the teenagers coming in and dropping their backpacks in the middle of the hall with their shoes and saying, hey mom, which annoyed you at the time, but you may look back on it and, you know, you'd love to hear them running through that door again. So that's what our tip is this week. It's understanding the importance of the ordinary day and capturing it. And now we have all sorts of fun ways to do that. Most everyone has a smartphone. Teenagers have smartphones or cameras or something. And so we're just going to document it, an ordinary day. So today or tomorrow, whatever day this week, walk around the house, and no posing, just capture the ordinary moments. Your children sitting there having breakfast, you at your computer working, doing the dishes in the sink. You don't have to take a picture of you doing them, but show them, or, you know, whatever. You get the idea. The children sleeping, that's one of my favorite. I still take pictures of them sleeping. It drives my husband crazy because the flash usually goes off because it's dark in the room, and sometimes I wake them up. But you know what? It's worth it, because I'm glad to have those pictures, those moments in time, and they grow so quickly. We know that. Our mothers told us that, and I, for one, didn't believe it, but we know now. Life is short, life is fast. So capture those moments, capture it for a day, capture it for the week, but just even a few hours of ordinary moments is great. And encourage your children to too, because we want to encourage them to pay attention to those things and not wait till they're grown-ups to look back and do these things, because it's those ordinary moments that they too will remember. Looking back at childhood, it isn't those huge moments most of us remember. It's the gentle touch when you're sick, being taken care of. It's the riding your bike like crazy around the neighborhood, or whatever it is. It's those everyday things. Dinner together every night, which is what we and most people I knew growing up did. You know, those are the things we remember. So this week, take your smartphone, your camera, or however way you want to document your ordinary day, and do it. And encourage your children to too. If they're older and they have their own smartphones, have them do it there. If they're younger, let them borrow yours if you're willing, and or a camera or whatever. They can take pictures if they're really young, and just document your ordinary day. It's super easy, it's super fun. You can put it in a file on your computer, you can put it in a file on your phone, whatever you want to do with it. But it's the idea of shaping your thoughts towards gratitude, towards noticing the everyday little things that aren't so little, and starting to think that way, and taking the action to actually solidify it with pictures. So that's it. That's the tip. You'll be glad Whether it's next year, 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, you'll be so glad you did this, and so will your children. We'll revisit this again, so don't worry. If you miss this one, you'll see this again because it's so important, and every ordinary days change from year to year. So I hope this tip has served you, and now it's your turn. I'd love to hear from you. What are the 3 things in your ordinary day that you appreciate the most, or that you think, looking back in 10 or 20 years, that you'll miss the most? And let us know what they are. And also, take pictures. After you've taken pictures of your ordinary day, come back and post them at SherieFogarty.com and share them so we can all be inspired and motivated and empowered by everybody's ordinary days. And also, ask your children first, please. I've learned that with my teenagers in particular. But if they're willing to share the pictures that they've taken with us, that would be wonderful. Come back and share the pictures of some of their ordinary moments in the day, because I think we can all learn from what our children and others, what their ordinary moments that they find the most special are. So thank you, and I hope you'll join us in the discussion. So as always, the best discussions happen over at SherieFogarty.com, so I hope you'll go there now and leave a comment. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a mom and everything you do each and every day to be the best one you can be. And here's to all of us creating a better world, one child and one family at a time, starting with our own. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.